From Sci News, new Mesosaurs unearthed. From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Now, let's get into the animal news of the day. Paleontologists in Uruguay have discovered large, poorly preserved, and incomplete skulls, as well as several associated bones of ancient aquatic reptiles called mesosaurs. This is actually quite common where um, we will find like fragmented fossils, like very few skeletons, especially of animals that are not fish, tend to be quite fragmented. Fish, for some reason, are very well preserved. These new specimens suggest the existence of gigantism in mature mesosaurs reaching more than twice the size of previously described adults and type specimens. And here are the mesosaurs. So these are descendants of the clade of animals called Sauropsida, which first evolved in the Gaventian, no, the Bavician, no, yeah, Bavician stage of the Carboniferous around 323 million years ago. So this is practically the start of reptiles, not when these mesosaurs first evolved, but in terms of Sauropsida. The Sauropsida lineage would give rise to like not just the mesosaurs, but most reptiles, like including the diapsids, the birds, crocodiles, the archosaurs, which means not just the crocodilomorphs, but even the dinosaurs themselves. So this is also just simply part of that clade. Mesosaurs are a group of small aquatic reptiles that lived in South Africa and South America during the Permian period, roughly 299 to 270 million years ago. So these are members of Mesosauridae. This is Mesosaurus in general. So these are found in the Irati formation of Brazil. And these animals lived during the Caringian stage of the Permian. So this is somewhere around 283 to 273 million years ago during the early Permian period. And this is around the same time as Dimetrodon, which was a synapsid that ruled Texas around this time. Might have mentioned before, like 290 million years ago is when Dimetrodon ruled. That's a bit too early for that specific synapsid. And then you had animals such as Brazillosaurus. And despite these animals having source in their name, they are not dinosaurs. And they also technically aren't distinct lizards either, though they are somewhat related. And these animals were mostly fully aquatic. And on average, the mesosaurs didn't reach much more than 3.3 feet in length, so about a meter. In fact, Mesosaurus was even smaller. I think this animal only got to around 2.5 feet. So they were quite small, despite how large they look in this picture. Mesosaurs are often described as small to medium sized aquatic amniotes, partially due to their elongated bodies and long tails that exceed the length of the rest of the body. Additionally, their long snouted skull is composed of very thin cranial bones and it bears numerous needle like marginal teeth. Despite the fragility of some of their cranial bones, mesosaur remains are abundant in the Gondwanan Permo-Carboniferous shale and silt deposits of Gondwana, including well-preserved, nearly complete skeletons with articulated skulls and partially preserved specimens that retain still recognizable soft tissues. This exceptional preservation has led to the designation of the Mangrullo Formation of Uruguay and the Irati Formation of Brazil as conservate Lagerstätten for Gondwana. So the Mangrullo Formation of Uruguay has had certain Mesosaur specimens discovered, but I'm not sure if they've been confirmed whether or not on the certain or the specific genus. There have been Brazillosaurus, Mesosaurus from the Irati Formation of Brazil, as well as different species of prehistoric shark in the region. So this is a shark. This is specifically Xenacanthus. This animal probably reached somewhere around 6 to 9 feet in length, so somewhere around 2 to 3 meters. And this is a part of the um, Elasmogera lineage of sharks, which first evolved somewhere around 380 million years ago during the Devonian period. So this is also I believe close to the time when the tetrapod or the lone fin fishes of Canada ended up coming onto land and would later give rise to the different species of amphibians, reptiles, and later on mammals and dinosaurs, such as Tiktaalik rossi. And yes, those are fishes. Um, they just had a very, they did have the ability to semi walk on land to a small extent. Also, the difference between fish and fishes is that so fishes refers to several different species or genre of fish, whereas fish itself just relates to like a single species. So you would say there are 500, um, let's see, 500 great whites off the coast of Maine. Whereas you would say there are six different species of shark or six different species of fishes off the coast of Maine. Let's see. Just many people get confused about that. Okay. Furthermore, mesosaur fossils from these units include different autogenetic stages, from unborn individuals to juveniles and adults. Yeah, that's interesting. With the mesosaurs, is unlike many species of reptile, there have been quite a few juveniles that have been discovered, unlike the adults. Therefore, mesosaur autogeny is well documented, with body lengths ranging from 10 or 12 centimeters or 3.9 to 4.7 inches in hatchlings, to 80 or 90 centimeters or 2.6 to 3 feet in young adults. The average mesosaur length is approximately 70 centimeters or 2.3 feet. Previous studies suggested that mesosaurs are semi aquatic rather than fully aquatic amniotes. In addition, in recent studies on mesosaur taxonomy and paleobiology, over 1,000 specimens were examined. I didn't know that mesosaurs were this common. I'm guessing that these were quite fragmented remains, including both small and large individuals belonging to Mesosaurus tenuidens. The data also suggested at its mature stage, Mesosaurs developed more terrestrial habits. That's interesting. I was wrong about that. I really thought these animals were mostly aquatic, and that might have been like an old theory. Apparently, it isn't. That used to be a mistake with the long-necked plesiosaurs in the Mesozoic era when the dinosaurs existed. That originally it was thought these animals had the ability to come onto land, so they were semi-aquatic like today's crocodiles and alligators. But now it looks like these animals were fully aquatic and did not have the ability to support their weight on land. So if they did happen to come onto land, it would become beached like a whale. But this doesn't seem to be the case with the much earlier mesosaurs. Also another thing to mention is that this is a map of more of the early, was it the ossocilomorph lineage of sharks. These individuals only existed for somewhere around, trying to remember, like 30 to 40 million years. They had a pretty short reign, especially the Cephacanthus, which is the smallest individual in this just this overall group of sharks. So that animal existed somewhere around 273 million years ago. The specimens include two fragmentary skulls, a dorsal vertebra, a fragment of the tail, an isolated rib, and several other bones. They came from the Picada de Coelho and Albaran localities of the Mangrilo Formation, northern Uruguay. The paleontologists compared the new fossils to a large sample of the same bones of Mesosaurus tenuidens. Their analysis revealed that the size of the Mesosaurs from the Mangrilo Formation exceeds the typical size distribution previously recorded for Mesosaurus tenuidens. Oh, and just to remind everybody, this is occurring about uh, 40 to 45 million years before the first dinosaurs existed, or even the marine reptiles. And the Triassic wouldn't appear for another 23 million years. So let's see. These individuals were larger than the means by 4 to 5 times its standard deviations, with skulls measuring 15 and 20 centimeters, or 5.9 to 7.9 inches. Wow, in length and a total body size between 1.5 and 2.5 meters. 4.9 to 8.2 feet. So that's a massive increase in what we've been seeing. This is good to hear. To explore the significance of such large mesosaurs in the population of the Mangrove Formation, we consider the potential impact of Bergman's rule. Although this is an important paleogeographic principle in the study of isolated populations of the same species or distinct taxa whose body size may have been affected by changes in temperature and food availability, including competition for nutrients, it does not explain the presence of such large specimens of mesosaurs in the Mangrove Formation. Therefore, we conclude that the great variability in body size found in mesosaurs corresponds to their ontogenetic stage and growth pattern. The previously recognized smaller body sizes likely represent assemblages dominated by early juveniles, subadults, and young adults, potentially reflecting catastrophic mass mortality events that interfere with the attritional normal addition of carcasses of animals that died by varied causes. Now, it's also something to remember is that even during the Permian, like every period in history, even within the smaller epochs, like when I mentioned the Cameroonian stage of the Permian, this instance, there would have been several mass extinctions. Well, I guess smaller mass extinctions occurring um, within these different epochs. And then definitely at the end of every period, so at the end of the Carboniferous period, which is somewhere around 300 to 302 million years ago, you had a massive die off of different species of reptiles, amphibians, even insects, and then as well as into the Permian mass extinction, which is seen as the largest extinction that's occurred within the Phanerozoic era. So that time span extends from around 545 million years ago to now. Um, let's see. The previously recognized smaller body sizes likely represent assemblages dominated by early juveniles, subadults, and young adults, potentially reflecting catastrophic mass. Wait, did I do this? Oh, bentonite layers and gypsum crystals found in the Mangrove Formation result from the occasional input of ash falls over the lagoon derived from the increased tectonic activity related to the Pangea Formation. Yet during this time, there was a lot of volcanic activity occurring, and much worse than a lot of the pollution that we see today, or even with the minor volcanic eruptions that have occurred, like you had, Mount St. Helens, then you had the different volcanoes going off in Iceland or over in Chile, even Kenya adjacent to the Serengeti. So this was much worse. These volcanic events, combined with the observed gradual drought in the Irati White Hill Sea and the concomitant desertification, are suggested as the main trigger that might explain the Mesosaur extinction, at least in the Uruguayan region of the Parana Basin. So, unfortunately, yeah, this was probably what caused the end of the Mesosaurs because they technically go extinct within the next 3 million years at this point. So, let me know what your favorite species of Permian animal is within the comments. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share the show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.